Hello Skyliners, welcome back to Super-Duperville, episode 40. We've made it to 40, this is awesome. Manufacture, yo! I'm Mike of Dragon Rider Gaming, and I thank you very much for checking out a City Skylines episode. Today we have 3 goals, but a ton to do. Number 1, building lots of factories. So in industry land, we are going to start putting down our factories to start using our produced products that all 4 industries are creating. Number 2, grow all industry companies to level 3 or level 4. So the goal is to get the forest industry and the farming industry to level 3 and to get the ore and oil industries to level 4. Number 3, install the North Cargo Hub. I mentioned this last episode, I think, that I want to put in a cargo hub in the northeast corner, and we're going to do just that. Okay, so this is going to be a speed build episode, 300% speed, so it's going to move pretty quick. To start off with, I'm going to move the fire and police headquarters and install a fire helipad, helicopter pad, in between them there to open up that middle section for the factories. Next up, I draw on some dirt roads here so that the manufacturing squares on the south and north end kind of have a little bit of uniformity to them. Then I move the raw material storage facilities for the forest and mining industries to make room for future expansions, and later in the episode you'll see what I'm talking about here. After this, I change and move the medium warehouses for the ore and oil industries to the outside edge, and I set them to unique factory products to allow any overflow from the factories to store the material in these locations. Next up, we just draw in a few of these side legs similar to the farming industry area so that I can change over the forest industry to match the farming industry layout. Now we're going to build the North Cargo Hub. And then we're going to level and slope the tracks, and we're going to clean up the landscaping in the area. I'll be right back. Now we get some water, and we move on to rearranging the main tree buildings over here, just to start making room, because I want to put all of the workers barracks along that north end. So I move the main building over, and then I install, finally, some plain timber and paper production facilities there. Now we move on to putting down some flower production facilities, just so we can get some manufacturing going on that end. And we finally get to putting down our first factory. So we're going to start with the industrial steel plant. This factory uses metal, and it makes like machine parts and tools and stuff like that. Then our academic year hit, and we gained 1 student! Yay! 1 student. Yeah. I move over the workers barracks up here just to start making room. I can get 4 of them over here. We'll be able to get 3 more along that side as well, but it's going to be really, really tight. The next factory that we put down is the food factory. This uses animal products, flour, paper, and plastic, and it makes all kinds of yummy food products. Seeing that our paper output is not that great, I go ahead and I drop in a secondary engineered wood plant and pulp mill to help facilitate a faster production on that end of things. Then I decide I left this other square open just with the main road inside of it, because I decided to put down a slaughterhouse, a milking parlor, and a couple cattle sheds, just to have a different thing to produce animal products. It does not make sense to have a slaughterhouse though without some cattle, so I go ahead and draw in a couple of the dividing roads here and put down some cattle as well. I think I set these all to Highland cows if I remember correctly. As all of these do use crops to produce their product, it's important to make sure that we keep our crop production higher than it's being consumed, right? So I go ahead and drop in a couple more crop facilities up here. I put in the fruit fields, and then I switch them over from apples to pears to oranges, stuff like that. All kinds of fun stuff. So I was going to put down another factory, but then I remembered I don't have garbage support in this area. So I go ahead and I just put in one of our waste transfer facilities down here, and hopefully that will be enough to support the entire industry zone. Next to that, I put our next factory, the household plastic factory, that uses petroleum, I'm going to call it petro, and plastic to make various products, stuff that's never going to biodegrade, right? But it makes most sense to put it down there in with the oil industry area. So now I'm going to put in the northern cargo hub connector for the rails. This was kind of a difficult decision to make as to where to put it. I couldn't fit it on the north side and link it into the rail as it's going down the center of the road. So I decided to go on the south side of the river here. And I wanted to raise the bridges there so that when in the future, when we get to Winchester, we have a way to do an off-ramp. And in my mind, I'm thinking a similar off-ramp to how we have Positiveville set up, in which we just do a very quick, right next to the highway off-ramp, and it goes underneath the overpass. After leveling these out and getting a nice slope to the highway, we come back in and decide to raise the entire rail line and give it a gradual slope downward. My first attempt made the slopes too steep. I think I was dropping them by 4 units every single time, and I think that the gaps in these are a little bit less than what I did over in Super-Duper Bay. So I reset this, bring it back up, and then just go by 2 units for each one. And it's much smoother then. And one way you can do this too, if you want you select all of them, move all of them down 2, and then you just start unclicking each one as you go along. And it makes it a little bit quicker to move along instead of selecting individual ones and raising and lowering them. Follow a train up the track just to make sure that it's flowing good, and it did. It looked very nice going up that track there. Looks like I have a bit of a hump here at the very top, so I lower this one down. And now we're going to install our exit ramp. Originally I was going to put this as a regular Y junction, but then I decided it's best to keep a little bit tighter to the highway, so I make the right side exit a sharper curve, because coming off as a Y junction there would just be far too far out. It's far out, man. Too far out, man. Yeah. So a quick jump back to Industryland. We realize our forest and farm industries have reached level 3. Yay! We're not getting notifications now because, of course, back in Stutopia, they're already at level 5, so you don't get notified, pop-up notifications rather. But realizing how slow the ore and oil industries are moving, I decided to put down a few medium extraction facilities to help speed them up. Jumping back to the rail connector, I decided to bring it down all the way across the water here. I'll go back and I will adjust the height of the rail that's going across the water there to make sure that the ferry boats, I guess, can fit underneath properly. But for now, this will work. Alright, so now that that's all in place, I go back to the cargo hub and clean up the roads here just a little bit. Instead of having a 90-degree corner, I like to have curved edges here. So I just go down by 2 units on each side and move the roads back and then put in the 2x2 curved edges. Sweet! So next up, we're going to put in a toy factory. The toy factory uses paper, plain timber, and plastic to make these nice toxic toys for all the boys and girls of Super-Duperville. Yay! Followed by that is a printing press. That building uses paper and plastic to make cards and books. And then we put down a lemonade factory, which uses crops and glass to make delicious lemonade. Ironically enough, I'm drinking lemonade during this episode. Next up, we put on an electronics factory that uses plastic, glass, and metal to make computer parts and such. And then north of the printing press, we install the soft paper factory, which uses crops, paper, petro, and plastic to make tissue and toilet paper. Critical industry, right? After that, north next to the electronics factory, we put the clothing factory, which uses animal products, crops, and plastic to make odd-sounding clothes. I don't know why that makes clothes, but whatever. So this brings us to 5 factories left that I have not put in. I only plan to use 4 of them. Petrol refinery, car factory, sneaker factory, modular house factory. The petrol refinery unlocks at oil level 4. The car factory unlocks at ore level 4, I think. And the sneaker factory not till oil level 5. So Traprexon made to level 4. Yay! Now we can put down the oil maintenance building, which helps with storage capacity. It increases it by 5%, I believe. So looking at Get Your Rocks Off Mining Company, it looks like we've hit level 4 as far as production, but we didn't have enough workers. So we're going to have to wait for that to hit. This is probably going to happen to the ore, forest, and farm industries because I just don't have the population to support enough workers for the area. We just increased worker demand down here drastically by putting in all these factories. So eventually we'll get back around to doing this. The last place that I put in is the petrol refinery. Figure out a place for that. The big square on the right will save for the car factory. And then we should be able to fit the sneaker factory into one of these other little outskirts. But for now, that should do. Finally, I put in a few of the commercial buildings that we were missing from before. And I think that cleans us up for this episode. All right, so that's going to be it for this episode as we look at all this area. Holy smokes, it has grown tremendously and it's awesome. I'm very excited. I am running out of things to do actually in the area, so that's going to be interesting to see how we can continue to develop this, get the people in, and get this area supported. If you like what we did here today, as always, please drop a like, leave a comment, let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe, but also hit the bell notifications so that you can get updated when we put out our next episode. Until then, this is Mike of Dragon Rider Gaming, and I thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and we'll see you in that next episode. Bye-bye, everybody.